absolutely got to stop. I won't put up with it any longer.
Won't put up with what?
Lucy's continual attacks of insane faddism.
So it's Lucy again?
Yes, it's Lucy again. You simply won't realise the seriousness of the situation. Why, her conduct over the past year since she came back from college has been... Well, there is no other word for it. Absolutely indecent.
Oh, don't take it so seriously. It's just her youth. Effervescence of an active mind striving to find itself. Needing an outlet somewhere.
Yes, but a healthy outlet. Not a load of half-baked theories.
Lucy's new theories are very interesting. Oh, you needn't be alarmed. I'm not catching the fever. Our daughter has hopelessly outdistanced me, and you are far behind. She is tomorrow, I am today, and you, my dear Dick, are yesterday. Don't worry about Lucy. I understand her better than you do, and she's just her mother over again. Besides, you won't have her at home to plague you into tempers after tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Our little Lucy married tomorrow. It hardly seems possible. It seems like only yesterday she was running around in short skirts, singing at the top of her lungs and raising the devil generally. She always had a will of her own, that little lady. It will be lonely here at home without her.
Well, we must try to accept it philosophically. It's simply the law of nature. When the little birds learn to fly, they fly away.
Yes, well, it's a cruel law.
No, it's a just law. Lucy would stagnate here. Our desire to keep her is selfish. She must go out into the sunlight and the shadow and accumulate her little store of memories just as you and I have done, and just as her children will do after her. And I think we ought to be as cheerful as two about-to-be bereaved parents can be under the circumstances. Lucy is fortunate in her choice. Tom Drayton is a rare type, the clean, wholesome young American.
Yes, Tom's a fine fellow. A splendid chap with plenty of going in. That's why I can't understand why he doesn't put a stop to all this foolishness of theirs. It's ridiculous to see a man of his stamp playing the meek little lamb. Why, the way she twists him around her finger is disgusting.
Well, perhaps Tom has seen enough of our family life to hope that the meek lamb will succeed where the roaring lion has failed.
Well, even you'll admit I've good cause to roar tonight when I tell you about her latest escapade.
What was it this time? Did she bring home a futurist painting to show you?
No.
Has she written another 5-act tragedy in free verse?
No.
Has she bought another Greenwich ukulele which she can't play?
No.
Did she bring home a tramp poet to live in our garret?
No.
Not even a long-haired sculptor smelling of absinthe?
No, I tell you.
Oh, this must have been one of Lucy's idle days. Has she gone in for psychoanalysis again?
No.
Don't tell me she has disinterred another yogi mystic in a cerise turban.
If you will stop questioning me for a moment, my dear, I might be able to enlighten you. You remember last night when she said she and Tom were going to the theatre?
I thought she merely said they were going out.
Well, anyway, I thought they must have been going to the theatre. Where else do normal people go when they don't stay at home? Do you know where she did go?
No, not to. Oh, I forgot. I mustn't guess. Well then, where did she go?
To an anarchist lecture.
And dragged Tom along with her.
Yes, the fool.
Did Tom tell you?
No, Lucy coolly informed me that I ought to go and see it.
Well, I can't see the enormity of her going.
I tell you that the woman giving the lecture was an anarchist. Most of the people at the lecture were anarchists. And do you know what the subject was?
Yes.
What? Did Lucy tell you?
No, she's been too busy talking trousseau to me. I meant to say I can guess what the lecture was about.
What?
Well, birth control, of course. Everyone is lecturing on that subject now, judging from the papers. It's quite the rage.
But you don't think it's infamous?
On the contrary, I'm enough of a radical myself on that question to quite approve of it.
Well, I'll be damned.
And there, I said it for you. Now, Dick, every time you've read the words birth control in the newspapers, you've condemned them at length and in detail. So I know all you're going to say beforehand, so don't say it. Don't say it.
All right, I won't. But
That's it, dear. Oh, there's the bell. I wonder who it can be. It's Lucy's friend. It appears she's carrying a painting.
Another painting. Good heavens.
Now, Dick, you run up and make your peace with Lucy. You know you'll have it on your conscience and be miserable if you don't. And don't lose your temper again.
I won't. Good evening.
Hello.
How do you do, Leonora?
Well, I'm fair. Terribly bored with everything, though. Now I ask you, aren't those rotten dogs? Never been in this room before. Who are they?
Only a few ancestors.
Oh, Philistines. Chinese ancestor worship.
Won't you sit down?
Thanks. Oh, I forgot where I was. You don't mind?
Not at all.
I didn't think you would, being Lucy's mother, but you never can tell. Most of the older generation do object, you know.
Yes, we're dreadfully behind the times, I'm afraid.
It's hard living out of one's period, I dare say. Why, I suppose even I'll be respectable when I'm too old to be anything else. Where's Lucy?
She's resting, you know, tomorrow.
Oh, yes, the marriage. Don't blame her for wanting to rest up. Frightful ordeal, I imagine. Too bad. Lucy has talent and temperament. What does she want to marry for?
Perhaps because she's in love.
Ah, mid-Victorian sentimentality. Love is no excuse. Marriage is for propagation, and artists shouldn't propagate. It takes up too much of their time.
But artists fall in love the same as ordinary people, so I've heard.
Oh, love, of course, but free love. I'd argue with you about it, only I'm not much on sociology. That's more Lucy's line. I'm only interested in it superficially. Art takes up all of my time. Oh, I was forgetting. I brought something of mine for Lucy. You may call it a wedding present, if you like. Lucy admired it when she came to the studio, so I thought she might like to have it.
That's very sweet of you, my dear. I know Lucy will be delighted. May I see it?
It's good, I think. It expresses something of what I tried to put into it.
What wonderful colors.
The colors are rather fine. Everyone agrees on that. But it's much more effective out in the daylight, don't you think?
Has it any title?
I call it the Great Blonde Beast. You know Nietzsche? It is the expression of my passion to create something or someone great and noble, the Superman or great work of art.
Yes, I can see that in it.
Oh, can you? How delightful! I knew you couldn't be as mid-Victorian as your environment.
But I'm afraid I am.
Oh, nonsense. You're not at all. You're one of us. You're an old dear. Why don't you dye your hair red? You look splendidly decorative. I'll just put this out of the way.
Hello, Mother.
Oh, hello, Tom. Mwah.
Hello, hello. I met you. You needn't be shocked. You came with Lucy to my studio, remember?
Oh, yes, now I remember. How do you do, Miss?
Never mind the miss. Call me Leo. They all do. Are you interested in any form of art? What do you do?
I'm afraid I'm merely a businessman.
You see, you attract me physically.
Oh, I see. You're a painter, aren't you?
Oh, I don't mean I want you for a model. I mean you have all the outward appearance of my ideal of what the great blonde beast should look like. Ever read Nietzsche? No, businessmen don't, do they? They go to the follies. There may be something more to you than you realize yourself. Someday I'm going to find out. Well, I have to be getting off. I'm sure you two have no end of details to chat over and fuss about.
But you're surely coming to the wedding.
No, I think not. Too much stir over nothing. Tell Lucy I'll see her when she gets back. And tell her I think she's a fool to marry. Oh, and don't forget the painting. Ta-ta!
Breezy little sprite, isn't she? Where's Lucy?
She's upstairs, resting, I hope. I'll call for her in a minute, but now sit down, for I have something very serious to say to you.
Well, you may fire when ready.
I ask permission to play the mother-in-law before the fact, promising in return to forever hold my peace after the ceremony.
Mother, you mustn't say that. Your advice will always be invaluable. It would be downright unkind of you to ever keep any such promise.
Well then, in extremis, you may call on me. Now, for what I was going to say to you, you've known Lucy for for 2 years now. And yet I'm afraid you may not know her at all.
I think I understand her.
Well, let me ask you a question then. How do you accept her wild ideas about society and the world in general?
I attribute them to youth and inexperience and an active mind and body. They are a part of Lucy, and I adore Lucy.
And their startling manifestations don't annoy you?
Annoy? Good heavens, no. Though the outbreaks can be a trifle disconcerting at times, I must confess.
That means you don't take them seriously. Would you care for some refreshment?
Please.
That's where you're both right and very wrong. Right in believing that beneath the high-strung girl of flighty impulses, there exists the woman whose sense of humor will soon awake and make her laugh at all her present extravagant poses. But you mustn't expect a drastic change immediately. Lucy has been our spoiled child all her life and is used to having her whims respected.
Oh, I know a period of transition. Besides, hang it all, her poses are adorable. I don't want her ever to lose them. All of them, at least.
You may love them for a time, but they're hard to live with, even after one has become inured.
Perhaps I've become acclimated already. But a moment ago, you also said I was very wrong in my attitude. How?
In not pretending to take Lucy seriously. That's the most important thing of all.
But I do pretend.
Not very successfully. I've been observing you.
Have I not gone to impossible lectures, impossible exhibitions, listened to impossible poems, met millions of impossible people of every variety? Have I not done all of this gladly? Nay, even enthusiastically?
Yes, you've done all of that, I must admit. But seriously, Tom, don't you know that your attitude has been that of kindly tolerance? The kindly tolerance of an elder brother toward an irresponsible child.
Lucy is a child in such things.
A child feels lack of sympathy with his dreams more keenly than anything else.
But everyone around her, her father, and even you.
Well, we've all made mistakes. And it's too late for us to change. You're just beginning, and you must profit by our mistakes. That's why I wanted this talk with you. Because the most vital thing left to me in life is that you and Lucy should be happy together.
I know, Mrs. Ashley. And I'll do whatever you suggest.
Then try to feel something of the spirit of Lucy's rainbow chasing, and show her you feel it. It's the old, ever-young, wild spirit of youth which tramples rudely on the grave mound of the past to see more clearly to the future dream. We're all thrilled by it sometime in some way or another. In most of us, it flickers out, more's the pity. But in some of us, it becomes tempered to a fine, sane, progressive ideal, which is of infinite help to the race. I think Lucy will develop into one of those rare ones.
I'm sure of it.
If she's not goaded into wilder and wilder revolts by the lack of sympathetic understanding in those around her. Don't be alarmed, though. Lucy looks on you as a promising neophyte. It's one reason why she's marrying you.
To convert me? Well, very well, I'm converted. Down with everything!
That's the spirit. See that you stay converted. Agree with her. Encourage her. Be earnest with her. And trust to your wife's dormant sense of humor to eventually end your agony. You won't have long to suffer. Lucy has advanced to the ridiculous stage even now. It's only a step to the return to reason. Now, I'm through lecturing and you may breathe easier. I'll call Lucy for you.
Thank you.
Lucy, Tom is here.
I'll be down in a moment, Mother.
Is this the painting that Leo was urging you not to forget?
Yes. Bring it over here. You'll enjoy it. It's a wedding present for Lucy.
What do you suppose? Tom, can't you hear? To put a stop to... Mary, what do you suppose?
Shh, don't interrupt our mood. Come and look at this work of art. It's a wedding present for Lucy.
What in the name of... Who made it?
That Miss Barnes. You know, you just saw her come in.
That artistic lunatic. I might have guessed. Does she call that a picture of something? What? Tommy rot. Blithering idiocy, eh, Tom?
I can't even get mad at them anymore. I've been to too many exhibitions. I'm hardened.
What is it supposed to mean? That's what I want to know. You must have it upside down.
Approach it with an open mind and soul, free from any conventional prejudice or categorical judgments, and tell me what emotion it arouses in you, what feeling you get from it.
You're beginning to talk as absurdly as the craziest of them. I'll be going mad myself the next thing.
Oh, but Dick, tell me what you think it is, just for curiosity.
Tommy rot! Tommy rot, that's what I know it is.
And you, Tom?
Oh, I can't tell whether it's the Aurora Borealis or an explosion in a powder mill.
Well, you're both wrong. It's the longing of the soul for the great blonde beast.
Great blonde rot. Well, never mind. Listen to me for a moment. Mary, what do you suppose Lucy was doing when I went up to her room, where you thought she was resting?
Reading, I suppose.
Yes, reading. But reading some trashy novel by some Russian. She insisted on reading it out loud to me. A lot of nonsense condemning marriage on the night before her wedding. Trying to convert me to free love at my age. Then she said she decided not to marry Tom after all.
What?
Remember what you promised me, Tom.
Yes, well, that's what she said. Well, here she is now. You can listen to her for a while.
Good evening, Tom.
Well? Well?
Oh, I'm sorry. I fear I've interrupted you. You must go on as if I were not here. My soul is very distraught this evening. Strindberg's daughter of Indra did find the truth. Life is horrible, is it not?
Bosh, you know very well what we were discussing, young lady, and you were trying to avoid the subject.
We were discussing the meaning of this painting Leonora brought for you.
A painting from Leo. How charming of her.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful, but you just said...
Yes, perhaps as a photograph is beautiful, but is that the real meaning of art? I'm somewhat disappointed in Leonora. It seems she has little to express after all. Oh, her techniques are those of yesterday, and she is too old-fashioned.
What?
Yes, I once thought she would soar to the heights, but it appears now it is hopeless. The wings of her soul are tied down by the dust of too many dead yesterdays.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm happy to see you've enough sense to know that that thing is Tommy rot.
I said no such thing. Well, I think it's fine, and I'm deeply appreciative of her giving it to me.
Then maybe you can explain to us what it represents.
Well, what would be the use? You would only misunderstand what I say, and besides, art is not to be limited by definition.
It was very thoughtful of her to give Lucy a wedding present. She doesn't look any too prosperous, poor child, and it must have taken up a lot of her time.
Wedding present?
Yes, she said you might regard it as such.
And so you haven't told them?
I haven't had the chance. In any case, I refuse to believe all that rubbish you were telling me.
What rubbish?
I will leave it to our lady anarchist to explain.
There will be no wedding.
There, so now you know.
You mean you want it postponed?
No, I mean there will be no wedding ever. I'm sorry, Tom. I would not want to hurt you for anything in the world, but, well, this must be.
Well, my highest duty is to myself, and my ego demands wide horizons and castles in the air, not homes for human beings. You understand, don't you, Tom?
Yes, Lucy. I understand.
What's that?
So, you'll give up the idea of our marriage today, and any day in the future?
If that is your wish, yes, Lucy.
Oh, I knew you'd understand.
So, it's your turn to play the damn fool, is it? I thought you had some sense.
I love her. I'll do whatever she thinks necessary to her happiness.
That girl doesn't know what she thinks.
Well, I have thought and thought until my brain seemed bursting. When I've lain awake in the long, still hours of the night, when I've struggled with myself, when I've tried to make myself submit, for Tom's sake. But I cannot. I cannot play the role of the hypocrite to the extent of binding myself to a pact which I feel is completely meaningless. It would be the most evil form of slavery to marry when I am convinced it is the most despicable of all of society's laws. What is it Nietzsche says of marriage? Oh, the poverty of the soul in the twain. Oh, the filth of the twain. Self-complacency of the twain.
There, that's what she was reading to me. Now you listen to me, young lady. Don't you know that all the invitations are sent out and everything is arranged? Do you want to make such an infernal mess at the last moment? Think what people will say.
As if I cared for the opinion of the mob. The much too many.
They are not mob. They are my friends.
Oh, stupid bourgeois.
I can quite sympathize with your objections to marriage as an institution, Lucy.
Mary.
Even if your father cannot. It's high time women should refuse to be treated like dumb beasts with no souls of their own. When we have the right to make our own laws, we should abolish marriage the first thing. It's an outrage against decency, that's what it is. I can see you're surprised, Lucy, but you shouldn't be. I know more of the evils of marriage than you do. You've escaped it so far. But you must remember, I've been in the toils for over 20 years.
My mother, I never.
I'll be damned.
But in the present, we're hopeless. For we must still fall in love in spite of ourselves. You love Tom, don't you, Lucy?
I do.
And Tom loves you. Then notwithstanding the fact that your decision is just, it's bound to make both of you unhappy.
Not if Tom agrees to the plan I have in mind.
Plan?
Well, you're sure you love me, Tom?
You have to ask, Lucy?
And you would dare anything that we may be together?
Anything.
Well, then why this useless formality of marriage? Well, let us go forth into the world. Not shackled for better or for worse, but as free spirits, comrades who have no other claims upon each other than what our hearts dictate. We need not change one of our plans. Simply let the marriage be omitted, and I will go with you.
The girl is out of her mind.
I've never been saner a moment in my life.
But can't you see? Don't you understand? What you're proposing is nothing more or less than free love.
Yes! Free! Free! Free love!
Have you no shame?
None where my liberty is concerned.
And you? Why don't you say something to put a stop to this disgusting nonsense?
I must. Give me time. I want to think it over.
Think it over?
Well, then you are afraid to go with me in free comradeship. You're afraid of what other people will say. You're afraid of your own conventional conscience. Well, perhaps from your life you are correct,
Lucy,
but...
I never said I refused. On the contrary, I see your way as the one way out for both of us.
So you, a gentleman, encourage this infamous proposal?
Oh, be reasonable, Dick. It seems the only thing they can do.
No, I won't listen to you any longer. This is all a filthy joke. Oh, my God, you're all insane.
Now, Tom, I want you to think it over deeply. lot more sacrifice for you than it will for me. But we will have to go far away together and start again, or else remain.
Oh, yes, it will be braver to remain.
You will have to face the stupid sneers and snubs of your associates. Well, it'll be hard, and you're not
It's all right,
accustomed.
Lucy. I'll manage somehow.
Lucy, how can you ask such a sacrifice of Tom if you really love him, as you say?
No, Tom. Mother is right. I cannot be so selfish. I cannot force you to marry. You are free, and time heals everything, and you will forget.
No, Lucy, I will never forget. So tomorrow we will start life together as you desire it.
No, Tom, for your sake, I cannot.
Why not sacrifice yourself, Lucy? You might marry Tom as you intended to do. Where is your sense of humor, you two? Why all this seriousness? Good heavens! The marriage ceremony is merely a formula which you can take with as many grains of salt as you please. You needn't live up to it in any way. Few people do. No, you can have your own private agreement. And divorce is easy enough.
Oh, but Mother, that would be hypocritical and, noble.
Oh, ignoble fudge. Hypocritical rats. Be sensible. What is the use of butting your heads against a stone wall? You have work to do in this world, and you can't afford to leave yourselves open to the malicious badgering and interference of all the moral busybodies if you expect to accomplish your purpose in life. Now, I would have nothing to say against free love if it could be free. I object to it because it's less free than marriage.
There must be martyrs for every step of progress.
Martyrs are people with no imagination. No, make your marriage a model of all that's best in free love, if you must set an example. True progress lies along those lines.
Oh, but
But nothing. You agree with me, don't you, Tom?
Oh, perfectly. I never intended to view our marriage in any other way.
Then make out your own wedding contract and sign it yourselves without the sanction of church or state or anything. You're willing that Lucy should draw up the terms of your mutual agreement, aren't you, Tom?
I'll repeat for the 100th time. Anything Lucy wishes, I will agree to.
I believe I've already written out what I thought. I was going to ask Tom.
Well, have you it with you? No? Well, run and get it. I'll keep Tom company while you're gone. There. Just giving you the best example of how to manage Lucy. See that you profit from it.
Oh, I won't forget, I promise you. Do you think I'm learning to be a better actor?
My dear boy, you were splendid. Poor Lucy, she was frightened to death when you decided to send her an unshackled free love.
But where did you learn this radical rigmarole? You had me fooled at times. I didn't know if you were serious or not.
Lucy has sown me with tracts on the sex problem, and I'm commencing to yield a harvest of wild words.
Oh, I can just imagine the terms of this agreement she's written out.
Keep up your courage. Agree to anything. Be married tomorrow and live happily ever after. It's simple enough. Now, I will leave you two to yourselves. I'm sure your father has acquired a few more gray hairs by now. I'll go and assure him.
Now, I wrote this out last night, and it is my idea of what the ideal relationship between a free man and woman should be. Now, of course, it's tentative and may suggest any changes you see proper, but well, there is one thing that I must insist on. There shall be no children from our union. I know you're far too intelligent not to believe in birth control.
Well, in the very poor, I consider it desirable.
We of the well-to-do class must devote all of our time for caring for the children of the poor, instead of pampering our own. Well, and to do this successfully and unselfishly, there must be no children from our union. Well, the little proletarians will take the place of our own flesh and blood. Oh, don't think I wish to shirk the burden of motherhood. You know how I love children.
Of course, Lucy.
I understand.
And you agree with the provision?
I do.
Oh, wonderful! Well, read over the whole contract and tell me what you think.
Our union is to be one of mutual help and individual freedom. Agreed. Under no conditions shall I ever question any act of yours or attempt to restrict the expression of your ego in any way. Agreed. I will love you as long as my heart dictates, and not 1 second longer. Agreed. I will honor you only insofar as you prove yourself worthy of it in my eyes. Agreed. I will not obey you. According to the old formula, it is not necessary for me to promise that, Lucy.
Well, I wrote out an identical copy of mine last night just to save time. Here. You can just cross out whatever doesn't apply to you.
For sociological reasons, I shall have no children. Well, that hardly applies to me either. In our economic relations, we shall be strictly independent of each other. Agreed. I may have lovers without without causing jealousy or in any way breaking our compact as here and said. Lovers?
You agree that I may have them, don't you? Oh, but you seem to think that I want them.
Oh, no. Lucy, I was only thinking that...
It's only a clause to show you that I am free.
I know, Lucy. I know, and I agree. Under the above conditions, I will live with you in true comradeship of a free man and woman. Agreed. Emphatically. And now what?
Well, now we sign the bottom and then exchange slips.
And now what?
Now you may kiss me. Oh, now run along, my dear. I'm so tired, I think I'll just run up to bed.
I wouldn't stay up any more with the books tonight. It might hurt your eyes.
Oh, I promise I won't. I'm too sleepy.
Oh, you'll be sure to be at the church, dear.
Oh, of course. Oh, but remember, it's completely meaningless.
Oh, completely.
Oh, and a terrible bore, isn't it?
Terrible.